Hello，你好，Welcome back，欢迎回来 to Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger on March 20, 2024. Now, we totally missed the a very important Valentine's Day episode this year because I was on vacation. So, this episode, I'm making it up to you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about Valentine's Day and chocolate. But before we get into it, let's look at a couple of very important vocabularies. Of course, first we need to know how to say Valentine's Day in Mandarin. Valentine's Day in Mandarin is 情人节，情人节CHINGRENJIA 情人节. Jie means holiday, special day. So you will hear Jie at the end of a lot of like special holiday related, like 圣诞节, like 清明节. 圣诞节 is Christmas, and then 清明节 is a tomb sweeping day, I believe. And 端午节 is a dragon boat day. And then the 中秋节 is a mid-autumn festival. So all these special holidays end on the word 节means special day. So 情人节情 means love, romance, and 人 means people. So 情人 is lover. Uh, when you see people that are in love, you will say, "Oh, look at those 情人, so sweet." 情人 means lover. So 情人节 is Lover's Day, aka Valentine's Day. Candy, in Mandarin is 糖果. Candy is 糖果, Tong and GWO. 糖果. 糖果, 果 means fruit, nuts and fruit. 糖 means sugary, candy, sweet stuff. So 糖果 is candy. Chocolate, this one, you guys are going to love this one. Chocolate in Mandarin is, you ready for it? 巧克力. Yeah, 巧克力, chocolate, 巧克力. They basically just took the word chocolate and made it more Mandarin sounding and call it 巧克力. And so it's a direct tone-to-tone translation, kind of like 豆腐 and tofu, gongfu and kungfu, uh, similar stuff. The chocolate in Mandarin is 巧克力. When you give gift on Christmas or Valentine's Day, gift is called 礼物. 礼物, L-E-U, 礼物. Wu means item, object. Li means respect, to show respect, to show appreciation. So, 礼物, roughly you can translate it to an item of respect, aka gift. Gift is 礼物. So on 情人节, you need to give 礼物 to your 情人, alright? And this 礼物 is usually in the form of, or at least it would include 糖果 or 巧克力. There you go. I've just showed you how to use all four of the vocabularies in the English and Chinese, English and Mandarin hybrid sentence. Yeah, that's talent right there. Now, how did St. Valentine's Day come about? Now, there are so many videos made on YouTube about that, and many of them will have graphics and cartoons and illustrations. And so I'm going to keep it relatively short because you guys can find much better materials on this particular subject. Long story short, about 1700 years ago, what we now know as Europe was in turmoil. There was a lot of war and strife and chaos going on. And in order to be able to field a lot of soldiers to force his people into joining the military, the emperor of Rome around that time decree that men have to go fight in the war before they were allowed to get married. So if you were single, now sorry, you got to be you're drafted. You're going to go join the army and go fight in the war before you can get married. If you survive the war, then we'll talk about it. And those guys who are already married, sorry, your country needs you, so you need to get a divorce and you need to go fight in the war. So the emperor was hoping that by putting this law in place, he would be able to field a lot of soldiers and win a lot of war. Unfortunately, he was coming up against human nature. What is human nature? Well, when boys and girls fall in love, they are going to fall in love. They are going to do the do the thing that they do and get married. They are not going to think about, oh, maybe I should go fight for my country first. They're not going to think about that. Okay, when they are in love, when you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, when the urges are there, you do what's natural. You don't think about your country. Okay, so a lot of boys and girls, despite the emperor's order, still were getting married, still were having children, and a lot of them were not joining the military. So the emperor decided, okay, well, since you guys won't listen to me, I'm going to make it impossible for you guys to get married. So rather than trying to restrict the people, the emperor decreed that churches were no longer allowed to officiate wedding ceremonies. So the priest, okay, no, you guys, no more marriage certificate, no more licensing. Don't marry these people anymore. I need them to join the military. I need them to go fight in the war. So churches were told not to marry people. However, there was a priest by the name of Valentine who thought that, oh, that's just not right. People have the right to get married. Lovers have the right to get married. It's God's will for them for men and women to join together. So Saint Valentine's uh, ignored the emperor's order and went ahead and conducted marriage ceremonies in his church, despite of what the emperor said. Sooner or later, the emperor heard about this and was very, very angry. And as we all know, making an emperor angry was never a good thing. So, in 270 AD, February 14, 270 AD, the emperor had the priest Valentine executed. And to commemorate this man who uh, defied the law to marry people, people made February 14 the day for lovers after that. However, um, the connection between one of the most iconic items that's associated with Valentine's Day. No, I'm not talking about flowers. I'm talking about chocolate, right? Like, yeah, flower is cool, but chocolate is even better. One of the most iconic thing that's associated with Valentine's Day, chocolate, was not a thing around that time. In fact, chocolate did not really become a thing until Columbus discovered America. Before that, chocolate was mostly like a highly guarded secret by the Central and South American Aztec people and Mayan people. They knew how to cultivate the cacao beans and use that in their drink. But it wasn't until Columbus discovered America that uh, they were able to bring chocolate back to Portuguese and Spain. But for quite a while, even after that, chocolate was pretty much an exclusive thing that only a Spaniard would have until around what is that? 1660, around year 1660, when Princess Maria from Spain was getting married to Louis XIV of France. Now, Princess Maria, on her way to meet her husband, was trying to figure out well, God, I'm going to marry the guy. Shouldn't I bring him something? I should bring them something special. But what can I bring them? I'm royalty, they're royalty. Everything my family have, they have as well. Everything we have in Spain, they have in France as well. Oh wait, hey, we have chocolate. So Princess Maria brought cases of chocolate to her future husband, Louis XIV. And the royalty in France was so surprised and amazed by this gesture that noblemen and noblewomen started exchanging chocolate on Valentine's Day as a token of romance and nobility. But it was mostly just noble people, the royalty, the highborns that were doing that. And they didn't really keep it up for that long. The French people did the giving each other chocolate thing for a couple of years, and then, like many royalty, noble fashions at the time, it quickly faded and something else replaced chocolate. And chocolate pretty much faded into obscurity for a long time until it finally was brought back into the world's attention by Japanese people. Yeah, you thought I was going to say Chinese, right? No, that's one I would say do give credit where credit's due. The one country that brought chocolate back into the spotlight was Japan. Honestly, for most of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, well, maybe Hong Kong's a bit different because they were more exposed to white people. But most of us that grew up in China and Taiwan in the 80s, 90s, and before that, the whole idea of Valentine's Day was not very common. Like this February 14th, Valentine's Day, was not really widely known because in Chinese culture we don't really have a Valentine's Day as such. We have a Lover's Day, which is similar on the seventh day of the seventh month on the lunar calendar, uh, which is kind of different every year. Um, but we have not really celebrated February 14 as Valentine's Day until very recently. Uh, it wasn't until then, I think, if I remember correctly, the early 90s when suddenly all the children, like high school, elementary school children, were exposed to the idea that, hey, there's something special about February 14. And guess what? People were giving chocolate. When you like someone, you give them chocolate. And it not just boys give to girls, but girls have to give to boys. So where did this come from? How come the sudden change, the sudden realization? Well, we got to attribute the reason to a Japanese cartoon, an anime uh, called Captain Tsubasa. I remember watching Captain Tsubasa when I was a kid. I didn't really care for it because I never really cared for sports related cartoon or stuff like that. I don't like to watch sport, and I didn't like sports related cartoon when I was a kid. But Captain Tsubasa is immensely popular. It talks about the struggles and the experience of an 11-year-old kid who's a very good soccer player, and he dreamed to represent Japan to play soccer, and his various adventures and uh, school experiences and stuff like that. If you take Harry Potter, right? If you take Harry Potter and take magic out of Harry Potter and put soccer in there, you get Captain Tsubasa. It's basically that, right? So there was an episode of Captain Tsubasa called Valentine Dream Match. I believe that was the name. Valentine's Day Dream Match. And in that episode, uh, it they the anime show us that it's February 14th. It's Valentine's Day, and all the soccer players have to receive chocolates from the women, the girls that were in love with them, and they had a match and see which boy would receive the most chocolate. And it wasn't until this episode that children in China and Taiwan realized, oh, there's a Valentine's Day. Oh, and look, people, chocolate, it's something special. Wow. Like, you can give chocolate to people you like? Really? Like, we knew about chocolate. We had chocolate longer than Japanese people. Chinese people, like, one of the most long-standing chocolate factory is in northeastern China, and it's been there since 1857. So we've had chocolate way longer than Japanese people. But uh, it just always been seen as a child thing. Never been seen as anything important, anything that you give to someone you like. Like, what the heck? Someone you like, you give them gold, you give them jewelry, you don't give them chocolate. So the idea of, hey, if you like someone, you can give them chocolate. And on this day, on Valentine's Day, it's when you are supposed to spend time together and tell someone you like that you like them and all that stuff. Like, this was such a novel idea to people my generation and the previous generation. So uh, you can say that Valentine's Day and its association to chocolate only happened to Chinese and Taiwanese people because of this Japanese anime called Captain Tsubasa. Interestingly enough, most countries around the world, uh, people do give each other chocolate on Valentine's Day and stuff like that, but it's very casual. Like here in Canada, in North America, it's like, well, you give flowers, or you can give chocolate, or you can give this. So it's like a casual thing, and it's not even that important. Like, I think most people much rather get roses than chocolate here in North America. And I think some people much rather get, taken out for dinner than getting chocolate on Valentine's Day, right? But no matter which country you go to, no country in the world, I can guarantee you this, no country in the world take Valentine's Day and chocolate as seriously as Japanese people. Okay, Japanese people, they are the only people right now in the world that really put an emphasis on Valentine's Day. You have to give chocolate. Chocolate, no gold, no silver, no roses, no dinner. It have to be chocolate. So they made it a definite thing, a definite rule. And what's even more important is on Valentine's Day, the tradition is women give men chocolate. Men do not give women chocolate. So in Japan, uh, men are supposed to receive chocolate from women on Valentine's Day. Now, why did Japanese people take Valentine's Day so seriously? Is it that they are so romantic, and how did they get this chocolate thing so seriously? Well, truth be told, it got very little to do with like how romantic they are. It's more to do with them getting tricked by a Russian merchant, right? True history. I'm not making this up. In uh, 1926, a Russian merchant, I don't remember how to pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. So, but you can find this information on the internet if you want to see if what I say is correct. But in 1926, a Russian merchant opened a candy factory in Japan, selling candies and sweets and, of course, chocolate and all kind of stuff. By 1936, his factory wasn't doing very good because, well, I don't know if you guys noticed that a lot of Asian people are not really into sweets. I mean, we kind of like into sweet things, like bean paste and taro and matcha and stuff like that, but uh, generally speaking, a lot of Asian people are not into chocolate and Oreos and stuff like that, like the standard white people treat, right? Uh, if you have Asian friends, you'll notice that a lot of them don't go out of their way to eat chocolate bars or chocolate or sweets. And Japanese people at the time were the same thing. Many of them very, very traditional, and they weren't buying a lot of these candies and the chocolate this Russian guy was selling. So by 1936, the candy factory, was in jeopardy of going bankrupt. So, in order to try to save his factory, this Russian merchant put out a promotional flyer on February 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day. And in this flyer, he combined the story of Valentine's Day and the discovery of chocolate, and how the Princess Maria of Spain gave chocolate to King Louis XIV on their wedding day. And he basically combined all those stories together in the flyer to tell the Japanese people that, hey, look, this is what white people do. This is what Western people do. And in 2 days, it's going to be this Valentine's Day, and lovers, they give chocolate, and this is what modern people do. So if you guys want to be white, if you guys want to be like Western people, then you have to do this. You have to celebrate. You have to take this seriously. Now, this is not just me talking smack about Japanese people, but Japanese people, a lot of Japanese culture is very white centric. Japanese people have this like secret hard on for white people. A lot of them want to be white. If you don't believe me, just take a look at Japanese cartoon, the animes, the mangas, the Japanese culture, and how much of it is either Chinese or white, right? Almost in every Japanese manga, if their hair turned blonde, that means they're powering up. If the hero has blonde hair, that means the hero is like powering up, got ultimate power. Like the idea of anyone with blonde hair is like that person is ultra powerful. And a lot of the names in these characters, like take Dragon Ball Z for example. Most of these characters, their names have come from translations of vegetables using English words. Like Vegeta is just a offshoot of the word vegetable, and Frieza, it's just the name of Freezer, and then the Frieza's brother is Cooler, and yeah, I mean, like I can go on and on. Like Dragon Ball Z is just a big hard on white culture. Now, blonde hair equals power, and the name have to be English words and all that stuff. Like Japanese people love doing that even today. But back in 1937, they really were into that. Like they thought that anything white, anything that came from the West was the best. Guns, white people's guns were the best guns. White people's airplane were the best airplane. White people's culture were the best culture. So when this Russian dude released this promotional flyer telling them that, hey, if you guys want to be seen as the same as white people, then you guys have to celebrate Valentine's Day, and you guys have to buy chocolate and give chocolate to each other because that is what white people do. Look at this. This is the origin of Valentine's Day here, right here, and right here it said the princess gave chocolate to the king, and these are all white people stuff. So yeah, um, the result was amazing. Uh, he not only saved his factory, he started the trend that Japanese people carry out even today on Valentine's Day. That they took this gifting chocolate on Valentine's Day super, super seriously, uh, because they took this tradition and ran with it. And then, of course, 1936, and fast forward 1945. At the end of the war, what happened? White people occupied Japan. British people, American soldiers, British soldiers occupied Japan. Russian soldiers occupied Japan. And Japanese people, in order to show these white occupation soldiers like, hey, hey, we are no threat. We are your friends. We're friends. We're just as white as you, even though we don't look the same. Of course, on Valentine's Day, they started giving chocolate to these white people, to white people, men and women, and trying to show that, hey, we know Valentine's Day. See, we celebrate just like you guys. So don't hurt us. And you know that obviously got them a lot of positive feedback from the soldiers stationed over there at the time, and so this tradition endures even to this day. Like I said, you go anywhere in the world, no other country takes Valentine's Day and chocolate as serious as Japanese people. With that said, like I already mentioned, Chinese people have had our chocolate factory, and chocolate has been a thing ever since as far back as 1800. So we've known about it and we enjoyed it longer than Japanese people. We just never thought of it as anything special. But if you go to China, this is a little tip because a lot of you that go to China, you want to see the Great Wall, and every city you go to, you want to try the Chinese food, you want to try the barbecue duck, you want to try the chicken gizzard, you want to try the stinky tofu, you want to try all, and that's all good. But one thing that a lot of you don't know is every city in China have its own chocolate. Okay, especially big cities like Shanghai, Tianjin, Xinjiang, Canton, all these major cities have their very traditional, very own chocolate that you can't find anywhere else. So next time you travel through China, it's a good idea to everywhere you go to stop and inquire with people. Hey, you guys have chocolate here? What kind of chocolate do you guys have here? And I guarantee you that you will find a lot of different flavors, different shapes, different styles of chocolate that you never knew existed before. Take the liqueur-filled chocolate, for example. Now, those of you that have had it or have bought it before, you know what it look like. They are like roughly the size of your fingertip, maybe a little bit bigger than your fingertip, and they're made into little little bottle-shaped chocolate filled with liqueur. That's how it's always sold here in North America. But if you go to northeastern China, where people there are much more uh, 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 into a lot of food, big things, big women, big men, big food, lots of food, then you need to try their liqueur filled chocolate there because in northeastern China they don't bother with these little finger sized chocolate bottles. When you buy liqueur filled chocolate in northeastern China, they are each chocolate is about the size of dinner roll, and each one of them holds about a shot of liqueur in them. Okay, if you ever been there and tried that out, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for checking out today's episode, and I hope it's a little bit late, but I hope that those of you watching this have had a good and happy Valentine's Day this year.